Hello, everyone, and welcome to this 10th episode of Pony Racing. This is the live hacking CTF race where 4 participants will be competing to be the first to solve a pwnable challenge, while me and my co-commentator Bob will provide some commentary and analysis of what the participants are doing. Hello, Bob.
Hey, mate.
So we should start out by introducing our participants. So I'll bring them into this room. I thought I turned off notifications. So hello to all the participants. Bob, will you give us a run through of who we have here today?
Yeah, sure. Start with SPQ. He is a first-time live pony race winner and part of Eastleigh Pwn Repeat. Then we have Peacemaker, who is a 2-time community challenge winner and someone who's definitely been watching the stream for a while, so it's cool to have him here. NotDeGhost is from Red Pwn and pits on high school CTF and has also been playing the community challenges. And then there's Night Fox from Bios, and he's been pitting out some really good write-ups and articles this year, so I've definitely noticed him.
Great. So I will be providing the challenge to all the participants. You have it in the chat there. I'm also posting it in the YouTube chat as usual for people who want to do the kind of sing-along version. And yeah, so we'll just let all the participants get that file sorted, and meanwhile you can tell me if there is does everything sound okay? Is the video okay? Just if there are any issues, please write in the chat and we'll try to sort that as quickly as possible. Otherwise we'll just give the participants a few moments to get this sorted, and then we will be starting any moment. Okay, so we have most of them ready, I think. Everyone, so is everyone ready to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night Fox? Okay, cool. So I will move you guys into another channel so that you don't hear the commentary. And oh, sorry, we will do a countdown here, and then you'll start. So everybody's ready, and we are starting the pony race in 3, 2, 1, go! And good luck, everyone.
User was moved out of your channel. Was moved out of your channel.
Okay, Bob. So let's start with our usual. Just take a tour around, starting with Peacemaker.
Cali, you know how I feel about Cali.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of opinions on that one. Using Ida, traditionalist.
Yeah, definitely.
So
looking for the security features up front, that's an important thing to do.
Yeah.
So 32-bit binary, he knows that GOT is writable, etc., no pi. So that's a good start.
Yep. Let's move over to NotDeGhost. I think he did the right thing. He did the same thing. Check the security features as well. Not using IDA, but Ghidra.
Yeah.
So it's your weapon of choice as well, right?
It is. I still use IDA, but I'm loving Ghidra more and more every time I use it. All right, so there's the beautiful Anzi.
Yeah. And the Night Fox is also looking at it. So basically this challenge is a little bit of a interesting one because it runs through a startup script which just immediately it will print out this very nice banner, but then start the actual binary, but then redirect all output to dev null. So they are flying completely blind, basically.
Yeah, no easy leaks this time.
SPQ, also using IDA. And as we have noticed on some people's screens, that the program is really small. It's probably the smallest binary we've had so far, I think.
The smallest bytecode for sure, but we have had a special compiled, like really tiny binary, with ASM and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that was that one, right?
But obviously, once you take all that other stuff out, this is like, really, it's like 4 lines of real code.
Yeah.
But it's tricky. That's the trick, right? Obviously, you're taking away leaks, and you've just got a pure stack-based buffer overflow. That's it. That's all you get. Now, what do you do?
Yeah, and what you have working for you is, as we said, no pi, no stack canary.
Yep.
But still, so obviously you can set up a smaller ROP chain. You have what, like 48 bytes or something to play with?
Yeah, exactly.
So we can.
So it's really tiny, but then obviously where you're headed is exactly what I would do, where you just sort of, do that pivot, get a bigger payload on there, and then figure out what to do from there. Absolutely.
Yeah, we can already see here from NotDeGhost, he's already started writing some parts of his exploit in Python with Pwn tools, just setting up that basically communication with the process. Looking.
Yeah, I mean that never fails, does it? Sorry, Matt. I just wanted to say, that never fails. That strategy of going straight into the code.
No, exactly, and we've talked about this before, right? Just don't waste a second on manual, just inputting stuff. Put it all in code right away so that you can have something reproducible, repeatable, so that when you actually manage to do something you want to do, you know what you did, basically.
Absolutely.
And you can look at the Peacemaker here, who is doing some dynamic analysis and running it in GDB with the Pwn debug, nice add-on. To get this really nice colorized and interpreted output compared to a regular GDB where it's kind of difficult to know what's going on.
Yeah, it's so nice to look at a glance and know what's writable, what's executable, etc., etc. And that deep referencing is so helpful.
Yeah. And we can look over at Nightfox, who is also playing around with the debugger. You can see that he has input a bunch of A's, and he's looking at those A's in the memory, just figuring out exactly where they are. Also running ROP Gadget to start to figure out what options are available here.
So this is quite interesting to me, because I just wonder, do you think any of them have seen that they're not going to get output from this program?
I don't know. I mean, they've all looked at the startup script. I've seen it on, I think, everybody's screen. But the question is, did they actually think about the implications of that? Did they actually read the line where it starts?
Because it's all the way at the bottom, isn't it?
Yeah. You have this blob of the ANSI art, and then just at the bottom it's run challenge and then redirect the output.
Well, that might be a nice little twist. We might get some people wasting their time in the wrong direction because we hid that redirection.
Though I guess what you can do is while building your exploit, you could run it and enable output so that you can kind of verify intermediate steps of your exploit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that would be smart.
and then get rid of that for the final exploit. May or may not help you depending on how you structure your exploit. It might be that if you set it up that way and you remove it, the nature of your exploit changes, which is undesirable.
Yeah, that is true.
So,
that is true.
moving
and I've been
over-
caught in that trap.
Yeah, so moving over to SPQ, it's it's difficult to read what's on his screen. I think he's running at a very high resolution. But basically, he has also started setting up some basic communication with the binary.
Yeah, that is the tiniest font I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think should probably tell him to. I'll just.
User was moved to
Hey,
your channel.
SPQ, if you could increase the font size of your editor, or I don't know, turn down the screen resolution or something, that would be awesome. Thank you.
User was moved out of your channel.
Okay, anyway, so we can instead move over to something we can read, which is NotDeGhost. He is, what's that colorized output? That looks like a bunch of gadgets, right? It's like
it does.
pretty nice visualization of a bunch of gadgets.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, maybe if we can see him rerun it at some point, we might see what that is. But it's not obvious. I haven't seen it before, so it's always very nice when you see tools or techniques that you haven't seen before. I mean, we've done. This is the 10th episode, and we have had roughly like 4 participants in each, so we've seen a bunch of different setups. But still, people use tools that other people don't. So.
Yeah, I've taken a couple tips from watching people. Like, do you remember when I was talking about that const grep stuff? Like, I didn't know what things stood for, so I had to look through source code, and I found out there was just a tool called const grep that comes with Pwny tools. That's a lifesaver.
And then the RP++.
Found all those gadgets that nothing else did. Yeah.
Yeah. So people are saying in chat that this is Radare. So I just realized that I have just complimented Radare.
Did, yeah.
That's
wow.
There's a first for everything. Anyway.
Wow, no, let's not ride over that. This is a huge moment for the stream.
Shh. The dark horse of the disassembly tools just showed that it has some nice features. So now we can actually
said it looks sexy.
I did. That's wow. This is a life-changing moment, I guess. But now it looks like SPQ actually switched editor or something, so we can actually read what he is writing.
Yeah, perfect.
Unfortunately, he just switched over to IDA. So he is going through the functions in the binary. So, if we just consider the functions that are kind of like programmed in there, we only have the main and the play function, and the play function just reads in some data, causing a stack buffer overflow. But we have a whole bunch of different functions there as well, and which are put there by the compiler, which is also why there are some gadgets in the binary to start with.
Yeah, definitely. And you've been recently going through some of those like universal gadgets and things like that, so you can see how useful they are even for something this small.
Yeah. So we should maybe again point out that this is a 32-bit binary. So when doing the ROP, you can put like arguments to your functions. You can put them directly
on the stack.
in the chain. You don't have to get a bunch of gadgets to move it around into registers and stuff.
I gotta ask you one question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
what does that mean in the chat? Did that guy just give you $20?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Garrett Kelly, for your generous donation. That's
a thing?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was what the hell?
No, this is a super chat, so he can post this very nice message and provide some token of appreciation for what we're doing.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, thanks a lot, Garrett. And yes, he's saying that he said that he can't watch the rest of the live, but looking forward to the VOD. Yes, so if you don't watch this live, or you have to go, remember that all of the episodes are available afterwards as well on the YouTube channel. Yeah, so let's move over to Night Fox, who is still doing some, or maybe again doing some dynamic analysis, just like running the exploit and looking at it in a debugger. And we can see here, if I'm not mistaken, he's using the GDB integration in Pwn Tools, so that when he runs the script, Pwn Tools will launch a GDB and attach it to the process.
Yeah, and it's quite nice when you have tmux or something like that.
Yeah.
But it takes away the scroll. That's what I don't like. You know what I mean? It's like a pain in the bum.
Yeah, so the only time I've used it, I haven't managed to like properly integrate it with my terminal. So for me, it just like opens a new terminal window. I don't use a tiling window manager. And in the few cases where I've actually used this, that has been fine. But I'm always thinking that I should really properly set this up, because it's so convenient. Like when you're running it and just launch the debugger and set everything up for it. You can even input different like breakpoints and other like GDB, like you can script GDB directly from Pwn Tools as well, which is really nice.
Yeah. It is one line of code though in your exploit script. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
But again, that scroll, it just kills me.
Yeah, as I said, I haven't really suffered from that since I haven't really tried it out. But
as far as what he's doing, mate, I think he's looking for a leak. I think he's going through it dynamically, and I think is that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
This looks like these guys, some of them are looking for the leak, whereas when you were on SPQ's screen, to me, it just looked more like he was noticing there was nothing to get the leak.
Yeah.
I think...
It's,
I don't know. I just think not everyone's noticed Wist in this little challenge.
No. So that will be an interesting moment for them. So we can switch over to let's see. NotDeGhost is
oh, I love this chat. Somebody just answered my question for how to do the scroll.
Yeah, that's good. So
I love this.
Joe pointed out that you can use Control A and a bracket to scroll in tmux or screen. Very nice. And yeah, so if we can look at NotDeGhost's exploit here, you can see that he is starting to set up a small ROP chain here with so he is calling read, and then why is there a reference to the play function there?
That's the return address.
Oh, right. Oh, right. Yes.
And then it's standard in he's using.
Yep.
And he's passing the buffer and then the size of the read call.
Yep. And the buffer, he has put some address there, which I guess is some just static writable location where he can put stuff. Can't quite make out the exact value there, but...
Yeah, I guess somewhere writable.
Yeah. But so, one thing though, after he has done that, doesn't he want to pivot the stack to that location to continue the ROP?
No, so I think I can see what that buffer is, and it is at the start of the data.
Yep.
Plus, 32 bytes.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that maybe put you still in the global offset table? Oh no, it might just be beyond it, right? Because it's going to eat 12 bytes and then 3 functions, so that's another 12 bytes. Yeah, so he's writing to data just past the global offset table. So you're right, there's no pivot yet, so I'm not sure what he's doing exactly.
No, it's... Yeah, and then he's putting... Yeah, well, maybe he's just like building it up, he's putting the read there, and then he's creating something that he will actually send and just verify that that works before he even bothers with putting the pivot there.
Yeah, that'd be a good move.
So that's maybe what's happening. Well, let's move on and check with SPQ.
If you do pivot, though,
yes,
you don't want to pivot that close to the global offset table, right? Because then if it keeps moving in the other direction, you know what I mean?
Oh, right. If you call into a function which actually uses some stack space,
exactly,
you will ruin things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that issue recently when I was doing a ROP thing. So I wanted to do like a loop inside of a ROP chain, basically. And so I wanted to kind of pivot back to the start of the ROP chain, but then it had been ruined by some of the functions I called. So basically what I did was I started my ROP chain by doing like a mem copy and just making a copy of the whole ROP chain to somewhere else, and then at the very end of the ROP chain I did the mem copy back again to restore the ROP chain, and then pivot back to the start of it, and thus creating like a looping ROP chain.
It's kind of insane, some of the stuff that we have to go through sometimes to make things work.
Yeah, but it's it's all just instructions, right? It's there's nothing really magical about it. It's just that sometimes there are more factors to consider than you think, and you might forget one of them, and things seemingly break at random. But then when you realize that you had just forgotten that, oh, actually this operation also affects this value, then it all makes sense.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that, obviously, yeah, you're right. And then I also think, those moments where you get stuck.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're forced to just do something crazy, like your mem copy thing. Like, that's that creativity that exists in Pwny. It's like not a pure science, do you know what I mean? It's it has an engineering backbone, but there is an art to it.
Yeah. That's definitely, like, you need to have your toolbox, but sometimes your kind of like standard recipe for how to combine those components is not applicable, and then you have to kind of combine them in a different way, but you still need those kind of like basic knowledge building blocks to even know like how you would even combine anything with anything to do something.
Yep, absolutely.
So with that philosophical sidetrack, let's check in with Nightfox, who is looking at the decompilation in Ghidra. And as we've seen before, and not a terribly interesting decompilation. It's fairly obvious, even like in this case, like even having a decompiler isn't really an advantage at all.
Yeah. You could have just glanced at the assembler, and I think you'd be fine.
Yeah. But so he's looking at the different available gadgets, when ROP gadgets, trying to figure out, if there's anything useful.
Yeah, it's weird because, like you said, it is a 32-bit binary, so I don't know.
Yeah, you shouldn't really need that many like small gadgets. I guess it's more about, well, first of all, it's about figuring out where you could even go from here, because if we kind of like reiterate the facts here, so it's a non-pi binary, but I mean it's still you don't have a leak, so you don't know where libc is, and you can't get any output, so you can't actually leak that, but by, for example, printing out the global offset table.
I know what he's doing. I love it when I know what they're doing, because I would do something like this.
Yeah.
He wasn't just looking for like things to, populate some registers. He was looking for something to get him a write, like a single byte write or something like that.
Yeah.
Like sometimes there's an add or an add with carry or something like that operates on a memory address, and he wants to alter the last byte of the read entry in the global offset table, so that he'll push it, I think like 16 bytes, so that it points to the system call, because it's just a wrapper function, so it's basically just setting up a read system call in libc. So if he changes that least significant byte, then he basically has a syscall gadget, or since it's a 32-bit binary, int80. Well, it's not even int80, right? It's call gs10 or whatever, but it's a system call. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. So you mean that like within 256 bytes of the start of the read function, there is the actual system call. So if you just nudge the global offset table a little bit, you'll have it. Oh, that's actually really smart.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's I mean, it was not the intended solution, right? But
yeah, definitely not the intended solution. But the thing is that using something like that, you still have a bit of a problem, right? You got a really tiny buffer, and what are you going to do? You're going to try call exec VE or something like that, right? Because you can't use system at that point, because you're using a system call. So now you're going to have to set that up, right? The 3 arguments and all that stuff.
Yeah.
In that tiny space, and one-shot it, not to run binsh, but to run binsh space -c space, and then the actual command. And he has to set that up in like an argv array. So it's possible. It's definitely possible. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it would be such a pain.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of commands to run and so on, let's talk a little bit about the actual end goal here. And as usual in our Pwny races, the only Pwn is a full code execution Pwn. So you need to get full RC to win. So it's not enough to be able to read a flag file. Instead, you have to run a binary which is in the same directory as the challenge. And that means, you need to have like a stable way of actually executing, getting a shell and executing commands. And now some of these players, or probably all of them, have played at least one Pwny Racing challenge before. So they like know what this binary, this flag submitter is called. But since they're running blind, like if they don't know that, they would have to basically set up maybe a reverse shell is one option.
Yep. And you said that the outbound connections are free. It's not the firewall's not overly restrictive.
Yeah, there's pretty much no restriction, and that has not hurt me yet, since everyone solving the community challenge basically has RCE with an open outbound network connection on one of my servers.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that day where the AWS bill comes and it's like, oh, you have used 14 terabytes of bandwidth. It's like, oh, yeah.
I wish you didn't say that, because I was actually sitting here thinking, well, what are they going to do? And then I was just like, oh shit, yeah, you could really chew up some bandwidth.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that after the stream, please.
Yes, but what we should look at now is Peacemaker, who is doing some kind of
brute forcing, mate. Okay, so that's a valid thing. Give them the libc. So he's gonna guess the libc. I imagine he watches the stream, so he knows from the last episode that Zeta likes to use the bleeding edge Ubuntu, not the long-term one. So that kind of narrows it down. So if he could get that libc, yeah, he could probably do something.
Yeah, and even if you didn't know that, unless I do some very non-standard installation, it's basically just a few different ones to choose between.
Yeah,
because I will probably be running 18 or later, so it's not that many different things to choose between. And a pwn is a pwn, but brute forcing libc, it's
not sexy.
Not sexy. Gets the flag. So, but let's look at his code. What is he doing there? He's definitely trying some offset. So checking back with all of our different competitors, trying to see what's going on where. I'm really intrigued by this solution by, who was it? Was it Nightfox or NotDeGhost? Who was it? Nightfox who was trying this syscall gadget thing, basically.
Yeah, I think it was Nightfox.
So let's look at that again. Let's see if he did. So now he's inside the read function, and I guess he's now trying to figure out the offset. But this for this to be stable, it's not enough to just write a specific byte value to the least significant byte, because that will give you like a partial overwrite with an absolute value, and that will cause different amount of shift depending on which version of libc you're using.
No. Everything's page aligned. That's why it's such a clever thing, right? The least significant byte and the next nibble up are free. You can mess with those all you want, and it will not shift anything.
No, what I'm saying is between different libc versions.
Oh yes.
The read function will be located at different addresses. So writing, depending on if the initial value is 10 or 20, writing 30 will shift it by either 10 or 20.
Oh, so you're saying he doesn't know what the remote one is, so it's still a bit of a risk. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can improve this by copy, if you do set up a ROP chain where you copy the GOT entry, or you read the GOT entry and you actually do arithmetic with it. So you copy that entry, you do not a write to the LSB, but you do an actual add instruction. Then you have a proper and then you write that back to the GOT.
Yeah, and that is possible. Sometimes there are those adds and add with carries and things like that.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest, it's not usually there, and also sometimes there's a bunch of other stuff before the return.
Mm.
That's assuming he finds the right gadget, right?
Yeah.
But he was definitely highlighting those sorts of things.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting strategy. So
I like the fact that you make him have to get a shell. I was just thinking, the Open to War guys have like this pretty cool war game, right? But it runs on Alpine Linux, which is a bit of a problem. And then also, they don't seem to like give you the opportunity to get the shell. So you're just reading flags the whole time. You just don't get that satisfaction if you don't pop the shell. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah, it's you want that shell. But anyway, we can check in with Peacemaker, who is doing this brute force exercise. I just wanted to get a look at his actual exploit script to see what he was doing, but I couldn't quite figure out exactly where he's doing the brute force. So here, you can see, try to make out what this is. Yeah. So that's quite a big range. Yeah. And then he's oring it. Oh, right. Look, he's trying to find the right. Yeah. So he puts a breakpoint in the right. No, wait, that was. But it looks. You saw that he was trying like those 4K different addresses and then oring in that E, and then trying to find the right location. Yeah, not sure. But so you can see there. Oh, look, he's even trying to read back from the.
There we go. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Oh, shame. But the thing is that strategy that he's using, it's not sexy, but it can work, right? And we know it can work because it's a 32-bit binary. Yeah. But the fact that he's trying to read something back is just breaking my heart, because it's just not gonna happen.
No. And this is an interesting thing, because that will work if you just start the binary, because there's nothing in the binary itself preventing output. But that's not how the binary is run. It's run through this thing that's printing out the banner and then running the challenge and redirecting the output to dev null. And you can actually, like, even if you don't exactly know, or like even if you miss the fact that that shell script is called like run.sh, or like you don't really connect the dots, you would notice that if you connect to the remote server, you will get the banner printed out. But the banner is not it's not in the binary.
Yep,
so obviously it's coming from somewhere else, and the only then reasonable conclusion is that it's actually coming from this run.sh.
And it goes back to your earlier point, which is that sometimes you're going to get stuck, and you should look at the complete environment.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like there's something that you're not taking into account. Don't always just zoom in on the binary itself. There are other parts at play here.
Yeah, that's so true. And we had some questions here in the chat. So someone said, this is fantastic to listen to. I understand pretty much nothing, but it's so satisfying. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. And, we try to keep things, both some beginner aspects of it and more complicated topics. So, you will pick up bits and pieces here and there, or later if you try out more binary exploitation on your own. You might eventually encounter something and go like, oh yeah, I remember them talking about this on pony racing, and then connecting the dots. So yeah, but also it's we just try to provide some entertainment here with this racing.
I like that next question. That's a good one.
Yeah, so we have a question here, like, is there any reverse erasing for reverse engineering? And I have not heard about it.
Didn't Murmus and stuff do one? Was that a thing?
So Murmus did like a pwnable community challenge thing, basically, where he challenged a bunch of streamers to solve one challenge. So it was like, during this week, everyone will stream trying to solve this challenge. It was kind of like a decentralized pony racing, basically, or like it was not really a race. It was like everyone solve it on their own without looking at anybody else's live stream. And then
that's cool.
He was supposed to do like a summary highlights compilation thing, but I think unfortunately other projects got in the way. But I would really.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think that one of the inspirational things for this stream was the Cambridge to Cambridge event, right? The rapid fire thing. And in that, they do have reverse engineering. But the thing is that reverse engineering is so deep at times that they could only ever do really, really simple things.
Yeah.
Ridiculously simple.
Yeah, and as someone is pointing out, there was something with Live Overflow and Murmus and a few others. And yes, that's correct. There was something, I think it was the beginning of the summer or something.
Yeah.
Was it like something related to the Google CTF qualifiers? It was related to some other event or something. But yeah, you can find it on Live Overflow's channel, for example. There was like a one-off thing where they were tasked to solve a reverse engineering challenge. I've forgotten the exact context, but maybe someone in the chat can fill us in on that. But I don't think there's anything regular. If anyone is running something like that, I would very much like to participate, as reverse engineering is, my favorite subfield within security and hacking.
You don't have to be humble. You're a badass at reverse engineering, and you want to kick the shit out of some other people.
Well, I mean, that too. So yeah. But, enough about me and more Peacemaker. So it looks like he's commented out his brute forcing loop and found some offset here. So he has settled on E500. So the 500 on that offset, and then he's ORing it with that E. I'm a bit unsure what he is. Is that trying to get... Am I understanding it right that he basically found the right function? Is that what he did within the... Yeah, and then he says read is needed after the info leak as well. Yeah, so... Again, the problem is there is no info leak.
Yeah, it's such a good strategy, but it's just so sad to watch now.
Yeah. I would love to hear about that in the post-match interview.
Yeah, definitely. The good moment's going to be when he realizes.
Oh yeah, that's when you wish you would have the camera and microphone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, happens to everyone.
That's the thing. You got to pick a strategy and just sort of run with it and hope for the best. There's a bit of that going on.
Yeah, it was like the other day when I was doing a pwnable and I was asking you for a little bit of advice, and I was talking about how I could call mmap and stuff, and then you went like, well, didn't you just a moment ago said that there was a seccomp filter on this? And I just felt like such an idiot.
But I mean, that's the game.
Yeah.
Right. I just like to be an idiot in silence, in private, by myself. That's my thing. But it happens to all of us. And now you see Nightvox. He keeps going over anything that dereferences a pointer. He only cares about those gadgets.
Yeah. So
He's definitely doing that thing. So I think he wants to control some registers so that he can perform a write. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, checking.
Duck, duck, go. Wow.
Oh, that's sticking it to the man.
The dark theme as well.
Yeah.
This guy is elite.
I bet he is wearing a black hoodie while doing this, and like a balaclava, like full on. But he's looking at the pop all or pop al instruction.
Yeah,
that's the one that like pops basically all, like a whole bunch of registers.
Yeah, a lot of those general registers.
Yeah, it's like a context restore instruction basically. Yeah.
I think he's trying to get that EAX at the end.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I saw a bunch of the AL, like the...
But look, he also had like an EDI dereference gadget above.
Okay.
So maybe that's the one he's trying to set.
Yeah, look at that. See that? Like AL, ECX, yeah, that's a tricky one.
Yeah, I kind of want him to pull this off now, because I think this strategy is actually really interesting.
It's a good one, but I don't know if you know, like, it's just such a pain, right? To quickly, like, under pressure, set up the argv array in 32-bit. It's just, I find it so annoying.
Yeah, but I mean, at least let's see. No, wait. Actually, when you do a syscall, you actually have to put it in registers and stuff. So yeah, that's.
But if he does it, he gets a pivot, he gets a bigger read. It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
But once he messes up that global offset table, can't use it again, right? So then he has to get it in one read. You can't like keep going back to the well.
No, unless he kind of copies that got entry.
That would be interesting.
So just make it. I mean, it doesn't have. I mean, you're only interested in the address, right? It doesn't have to reside in the GOT. So as long as you can do like an arbitrary copy. You could just copy that address and then modify the copy to still keep the read pointer, and then build up your syscall gadget.
Or I just thought of this. He could restore it to its original local value before it got populated with the libc value, because he knows that address, and then that means the next time read gets called, it will put read back there. So he can call a syscall, then read, and then a syscall and read, and he could just keep chaining those.
Oh yeah, so how does that work? That's
I wouldn't do that.
Because
so originally the global offset table has a local address there to PLT, the jump table at PLT, right? Yeah. And so if he just puts that address back, then it will go through the whole process of resolving read from libc and then putting the address back in the global offset table.
Yeah. And this is related to the intended solution as well, then, because the idea there is to resolve, for example, system or something, and then call that.
Yeah, the idea is that you don't need leaks, and you can just resolve whatever you want without them.
Cool.
Through obviously DL resolve. Which, by the way, the reason that we're doing this is because it's such a classic technique. It's been around forever. Lots of people know about it. Lots of war games focus on it and stuff like that. But this could have saved people at least 4 times that I've been doing the stream, and no one goes for it ever. And it's kind of quick to do as well. It, like, once you understand what it is, it's not that long. They could have already got the pwn.
Yeah.
So that is the intended solution, obviously.
Yeah, it's not a technique that I knew about, at least. But I mean, I'm by no means a pwn master. So
I wouldn't call myself a Pwn master.
But yeah, let's check back with SPQ though. That was some time ago. What is?
Oh, he's thinking, right? Every
Yeah.
time I see him like staring off into the distance, I know he's up to something.
Yeah. So setting up, you can try to see what his chain is doing here.
So he's also found the popple, right?
Yeah.
He's got a leverette, so he's definitely doing the pivot.
So that's good.
Yeah, so far so good, but what else is he gonna do once he pivots? That's the question I have.
Yeah. But at least there's... Oh, he has a question there, like, do we know the remote libc? And the question is no, you don't, because you don't need to. And that's also basically kind of like a standard rule here in pony racing. Like, whenever you need, or reasonably need, the remote libc to solve the challenge, we will provide it, and otherwise we don't. So
yeah. But as you did say earlier, it's not like rocket science to get it.
No, you could kind of like meta game this a little bit, and know what libc I typically have on the server, and figure it out that way. So a question from Joe is like, what's the technique for arbitrarily resolving a symbol without a leak? So actually, maybe you could explain this technique then, Bob.
Yeah, so ret to DL resolve basically is a technique that has existed for a long time. There's a famous Frack article that covers it. It's quite an interesting one, so I think that should be the reference for anyone who wants to get too deep into this. But essentially, you have two structs, right? ELF32 sim and ELF32 rel, and by populating these structs, you can fake a entry in the symbol table and an entry in the relocation table, and that's all that's required to look up a symbol, right? So you have a bunch of relocations in the binary, right, when it's compiled or when it's linked, and then you also have all the symbols. So that's how it knows what external functions to call. So if you set those up correctly, then you can use this PLT mechanism in order to make it think that there's a fake, or not. It doesn't know that it's fake, but make the loader think that it's resolving something like it normally does for the global offset table, and then it'll just resolve whatever you want. So you just need to put the string system there, for example, and figure out the offset. So you need to do this from a known memory location, and you need to have these two structs faked somewhere in that known memory location, and then you just need some strings somewhere, of whatever you want to resolve. So in the reference exploit, for example, it's system, and we just forge these two structs, and then we just do a little PLT call, and it just runs our command in system. No leaks required, and no feedback, more importantly.
Yeah, it's a very cool technique. As I said, I hadn't heard about this before this episode.
Now, what's interesting to me is I'm not entirely sure that that Pwn Tools has a mechanism for this. I mean, I don't really go that deep with Pwn Tools. I use it all the time, of course, but I've just used the manual when I need to. But I know that it has a bunch of fancy stuff, but I've never specifically seen this in there. But there is something else that people like to use, especially in the wargame world, which is called ROP Utils, a little Python module, and it will do this in 2 lines of code. So you got to understand, if you knew about ROP Utils and you knew that this is the technique you should use here or somewhere else, you could do this in 2 lines of code.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, definitely feature that it would be suitable for Pwn Tools if it's not already in there. So,
am I going to take that as you're going to put it in there? Another
I might look into it. I mean, it might already be in there. I have since, as I said, since I didn't know about this technique, it's not something I've explored. But since I've this last year, I've done just some very, very small contributions to the Pwn Tools development. So
I have seen that.
Might try to add this as well. Trying it.
You actually inspired this, mate. If I could just put that out there. So it would be a good attack that you should look into, I think. Because when you were talking about your Pwn earlier this week, I thought maybe you should do this. Maybe this would be applicable.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it would, because you said some other details that might change things slightly. So I think you're going the right way there, probably. But you should definitely look into this. This is just a beautiful technique. Everyone should look into this one for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool. So let's do another pass over the participants. So here there's another comment from Peacemaker, like, why is Reed putting that GOT address on the stack? An interesting question. I'm not sure what it refers to. Is it that init thing that he's talking about, or no? I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, is he talking about libc start main, the return there or something?
I mean that one's already there from the get-go. So.
Okay, so he's talking about from Reed. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but I think his core issue is still that he hasn't realized that he will not get any output from the binary. So that's going to be his main issue when he figures that out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm seeing a bin sh string here over at NotDeGhost code.
Okay.
So let's look again what he's doing. So he's starting out by doing just reading in another payload and then restarting back into the play function. And then he's sending the bin sh string. And then he would be back at the play function, so he would basically need to do this ROP again, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't really see...
So it's a good strategy. It is the start of how I would do it, except for one thing, which is that he's still putting that string on the stack, right?
Let's see. No. Because
so he's done the pivot.
So he's not he doesn't pivot, but he is. I mean, he calls read to put in more data to the global data, and then he writes bin sh to that location, and then he restarts with. So he just makes sure that the bin sh is at a known location, basically.
Okay.
That was his code does so far. Unfortunately, he hasn't labeled his addresses, so if you look there in towards the end, right before the interactive call, there is another address there, which I don't know what it does.
Yeah.
So that's
something executable.
Yeah. So, but let's move on. Let's check with Nightfox, who's trying to set up the ROP chain. You have this. So he's reading from the GOT, and then minus, so he's kind of like, you see this minus E offset there, which I guess is then to cancel out the plus E in his gadget to dereference the GOT address. I couldn't quite catch which gadgets he ended up using for that dereference, or exactly, because there was one we did an and an X. No. Yeah, it's just doing an and, which...
Yeah, that's a bit iffy. Any of the bitwise ones are a bit iffy. It might work, but it might not.
Yeah, exactly. And... Yeah. we'll see if that will work. So if we check with SPQ, here you can see quite a developed... no, sorry, it's just placeholder values. My mistake. All right, he's doing the pop all...
Oh, wow.
He's kind of like building a helper function for the pop all gadgets to just set all the registers.
Yeah.
And this is generally like a
he's
nice...
doing the same thing. Look,
Yeah.
he's got that add with carry I was talking about earlier.
Let's see, yeah.
At the top, ADC, you see that?
Yeah.
Where the longest comment was.
Yeah.
He's doing... That's the exact gadget I was thinking of. So he's going to take DL and then stick it in that memory address. Interesting.
Very interesting. So we have... If we have understood this correctly, we have both SPQ and Nightfox kind of considering the same approach.
Yep.
We have Peacemaker, unfortunately, still seems to be a bit on the wrong track since he's trying to go for an information leak. I think that's still what he's doing. I might be mistaken.
Yep.
And then NotDeGhost, which...
He set up something, but we can't really see where he's going with it yet. He might do a brute force for all we know.
Yeah, it's just doing some basic infrastructure, basically, of his...
Yeah.
So, but now, actually, if you look here at NotDeGhost, he's looking up the location of the PLT.
So he might be actually going for the real method, the intended method, right?
So let's see here. Stir tab, sim.
Yep.
Sim tab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So NotDeGhost is actually, I mean, he's moving a little slower than I thought he would, but he's definitely onto the right thing.
Yeah.
But those other strategies that we saw from Nightfox and SPQ, I could confirm those would work, but it would be a little tricky. But they work. I've done them before.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. We had another question here from Martin in the chat. Like, since providing libc in a way shows a lot about the challenge, wouldn't it be better to always provide it? Well, the thing is that for some challenges, it makes them easier and or kind of points toward a direction which we don't want people to go. So, I mean, I get the angle, but it's a trade-off.
Where it's required, we always offer it, of course. You know, we don't want to just add difficulty by like making people do stupid shit.
No.
But here, this is the game. The game is to do this without leaks, etc., etc. So the only reason they would need the libc is to do brute force, and that's not really the game right now.
Yeah. So looking here at NotDeGhost, you can see here he's setting up this sim tab, stir tab, jump rel.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff, right? To be able to.
That is it.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Yes. So if he pulls this off, he should be able to do it quicker. Even if he moves slowly, he should be able to do it quicker than the other two.
Yeah, and this is really cool, right? Because we have like SPQ who has been on like previous episode and is like well established Pwny, like Nightfox playing for like top 20 team in the world. It's like generally, very skilled people. And I mean, of course, NotDeGhost is also very good, but still like a younger, up and coming player. So, yeah, it's very cool to see.
Yeah, but that's the thing about some techniques. They're old, but then they become new again because people forget that they even exist.
Yeah.
And so he's obviously been doing his homework and, something he might have done before. I'm sure these other two guys have done it before as well. It's just that sometimes you have other things in your mind fresher.
Yeah. I would have been completely wrecked by this challenge. I think I would probably have gone for this the same thing that SPQ and Nightfox are going for.
It's a good method, especially like anytime you see any of those wrapper functions. So, like, how many CTF binaries have alarm in it, right? Alarm is a wrapper function, so you just go like 16 bytes or whatever from the start of that. You got a syscall.
Yeah.
Read, write, etc., etc. So I'm down with that. I've done it myself in CTF's war games, but if you just saw how beautiful this DL technique is, I don't think you'd ever do that again.
Yeah, no, it's. Can also point out here that NotDeGhost is using Jeff or Geff.
Okay, another one for Geff.
Yeah,
we are seeing it more and more, aren't we?
Yep, I think so. I've actually I did try it out myself a little bit.
What did you think?
I mean, it was cool and stuff, but it's always kind of difficult when you move from a tool you know quite well, and then you're trying to try a new tool, and in the beginning it's just gonna be worse because you don't know all the commands and stuff. So, that's when you really hope that they have a good documentation so that you can just like, okay, I know how to do this in the tool I usually use, but how do I do this in this new tool? So
I haven't seen the Geff documentation. Is it good?
I don't know. I don't know if I did look at it. I think that I was trying Geff when I was doing some remote debugging into like a 16-bit binary.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, a very specific 16-bit binary. So this is a perfect opportunity.
Here we go.
To talk about tomorrow. So
what's tomorrow?
So tomorrow is the 1st of December, which means that is soon Christmas. And what happens on the 1st of December is that the over-the-wire Christmas Advent CTF
Bonanza.
Starts. So this is an extremely nice competition, very like friendly atmosphere. It was held for the first time last year. So it's a CTF that runs throughout almost all of December, from the 1st of December until 25th of December, with one challenge released every day. So it's a CTF throughout all of December, and it has all the standard categories, a nice mix of challenges, plus some kind of I guess special, at least last year was some like special Christmas themed special challenges. For example, if you go to my YouTube channel, there is a video of me making pasta and meatballs. That was an interesting one. Anyway, so this is a great CTF, and there is a Discord channel and a Discord server and an IRC channel where they are linked together. You can like choose whichever you like best, and you can hang out and discuss the. You can't discuss the solutions per se, but just hang out with fellow CTF players and have a really good time throughout all of December. So if you want to sign up for this, you go to overthewire.org?
Advent2019.overthewire.org.
Yeah. And I really think that Steven should put the link from the main Over the Wire page as well.
Yeah, he did last year. I'm not sure what's going on. I'll definitely pester him. Well, he's watching this, so yeah, I'm sure he heard us.
At least advent2019.overthewire.org. You can sign up there and find all the information. So it starts tomorrow, but, and this is how I got into this, you can already now play the Challenge Zero, which is a nice warm-up, but do not be, afraid. It's not the easiest challenge, but it's not the most difficult either. So like if you have troubles with it, don't be afraid and think that you won't be able to solve anything, because that's not really the case.
There's lots of easy stuff for everyone.
Yeah. And if you don't have anyone to play with, or you want to find more people to play with, there is like a team recruitment channel on the Discord server as well, where you can group up with other people to play. So you should really check that out.
Yeah, I think Steven's like one of the best challenge makers in the game. I respect people who can do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he's like just super creative. And with this CTF, he just goes like eccentric and creative. So it's different, and I'm into different. So
yeah, and you helped out creating some challenges as well, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of people helping out. I'm not, which means that I'm able to play. So we will be a bunch of people from Hacking for Soldier playing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So will it start at like midnight today, or is it more like lunch tomorrow?
Yeah, 1 p.m. our time. So
Okay.
CET is 1 p.m. It's 12 UTC.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Every challenge gets released at that time every day.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, but anyway, let's get back into the game for now.
So there was a question
Yes.
from someone who didn't quite understand the difference between the strategy that Nightfox and SPQ are using versus NotDeGhost.
Yeah.
And so I think I can just try explain that a little further.
So
basically,
maybe we can start with the Nightfox and SPQ, because I think that's the like most straightforward idea, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So they are altering the global offset table. There's a function there already, one function called read and libc start main, but that's not interesting. And they just alter that last byte in the read address, the address in that global offset table. And by doing that, they will point that address to a syscall. So when they call read in their ROP chain, it will point to a syscall, so now they can run any syscall function they want. So they are going to have to set up this initial ROP chain and then a second ROP chain that uses the syscall in some way to execute something. The method that NotDeGhost is using is to look up any function he wants in libc. And that means he can use the nice comfy functions that do a lot more than just a syscall would, like system, for example, which obviously, master function and then executes binsh for you, and like you can set a command nice and easily. So the cool thing about NotDeGhost strategy is that he won't require any leaks. Everything he has is straight in the binary, and he can call any function he wants. The method that Nightfox and SPQ are doing, they will be limited to syscalls, which gets you everything you need, but with a little more pain, which means it takes more time.
So I just need to cut you off a little bit there, because someone said here in the chat that Nightfox got the local IG. Does he mean IP? Because I'm trying to look here at Nightfox's screen, and it looks like he did get a shell, but I'm not really seeing how. You can... I'm trying to, let's see if he can run it again. So yeah, so you see here he's changing, instead of running the binary directly, he's running it through the run command. And you see he's not getting any output, and now he sees that it pipes the output to dev null. So, but that means that he has code execution.
Beautiful.
Very interesting. Let's just quickly compare that to where NotDeGhost is at the moment. So you can see he has that system there and the bin sh and setting up this the resolve thing. You see that variable like the fake rel,
Yep.
and the rinfo.
Yep.
So he's going there, but maybe actually Nightfox is quicker. And
he's so close though.
Yeah.
He's so close.
Yeah.
Like he just set up the type of relocation. Oh, he's so close. That's like near it.
We can check here with SPQ. He's using strace here to figure out what his exploit is doing. This is, by the way, I really like using like ltrace and strace to get like a quick overview. Like if you have an exploit which does like a whole bunch of different things, and something is not really working, it's a good way to kind of like get a feel for what kind of high level operations am I actually performing.
Yeah.
So someone asked if the stream is down. I really don't hope so, and it doesn't look like it. It looks live to me.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. So I guess that's an issue on your end.
There we go. So Nightfox sees the line.
Yeah.
They have no line. What's he gonna do?
Yeah. I guess the sensible thing here is to just go for a reverse shell then. But
reverse shell or just do it blind, right? Just fire that command and hope for the best.
Yeah. So at least, well, he does have a shell since he was able to run ls, like, so he has a proper shell. It's just that he does not.
Well, so here's the problem, right? Wait, he had the local shell though, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing: is that if his libc is different, then depending on which gadget he used, like the add with carry or whatever, he might be a little more unlucky remotely. So it's not a done deal yet, but it's close. It could be. He's writing.
Yeah, he was writing something, but then he kind of changed his mind. But he actually, yeah. So it's
okay. So that is interesting. So that is remote, right?
Linux, TCP, reverse shell. Yes.
There we go. Duck, blow that shit.
Yeah. So I guess he's going for that, and that's I think it's the most general purpose thing. So hopefully he has access to somewhere that where he can run it.
What do you have on that server? Do you have netcat, like ncat, or just nc?
Oh, that's
like, can you do bind shells?
Question. I don't think any of those, but you have bash. So you can do do a reverse shell with bash at least, because it's a regular vanilla Ubuntu environment. So you do have bash, and I know that you can use the /dev/tcp. The top one there. You can do that one, no problem. But other than that, it's basically just a pure vanilla Ubuntu. I think actually the containers themselves are running 18.
Oh, are they? Okay.
So.
Oh yes, we had it locally last time. That's true.
Right, that was the problem. Yes, so actually, now he's looking for the rules of the community challenge, so that's a good one. So, nice, we have a winner.
Fire it blind.
Yeah, and he did it. He did it.
There it is.
Game over.
Fantastic.
And the fireworks as well. It's cool. Let's bring everyone in here.
User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel.
Yeah, so good game, everyone. Congratulations to Nightfox for solving the challenge. So, let's see. There's a bit of that's fine. Okay, cool. So
user in your channel timed out.
Yeah. Okay. Someone disconnected. I hope they'll get back. Well, congratulations. Yeah, Nightfox was the one who disconnected. Why was that? Maybe he just went a bit.
Got so happy.
Yeah, exactly. Just kicked out the power cord or something like that. Well, let's wait for him to come back, and let's just meanwhile ask the rest of you about the challenge. So, SPQ, how did it go? How did you find it?
I'm still not sure if my way would work. I
Yeah,
don't
it
know
would.
exactly if remote we have the right libc. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think you did
Yeah,
the same
that's
thing
true.
as Nightfox did. So I think it would work. It looks like you were doing the
Okay.
same thing.
Okay.
Which was not the
Yeah,
intended.
you were clobbering. Sorry, I just want to say, were you clobbering the least significant byte to point to a syscall, right? SPQ?
Sorry, where what? Doing what?
Were you altering the least significant byte of the read entry in the global offset table so that it
Yes.
would point to a syscall?
So no, it would point to right. So first, for me to confirm it is the right libc.
Okay.
Right, okay.
Oh yeah. So then, if you look at, did you check? Did you see how it was run, the challenge with the redirecting the output to dev null?
Yes.
So, oh yeah, but at least, but then you wouldn't get the right, or you wouldn't get the output, right? Or
Wait.
Oh,
yeah. So
Yeah, Peacemaker just got it.
Okay, I
Darn it.
misunderstood that. Yeah.
yeah. But otherwise, that would have worked. So yeah, we saw that Peacemaker. You were trying to do some leaks, right? Maybe, or
Yeah.
what was your general strategy? Well, let's just
Yeah.
ignore, that you missed that part.
Yeah, I was trying to know which
User
libc
was moved
version
to
is
your
on there,
channel.
so I tried to get the offset from read to write.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
But
see.
I couldn't even get that to work locally, so I don't know where I was wrong.
Okay, cool. Welcome back, Nightfox. Are you here?
Oh, by the way, you don't redirect 0, so could it probably still have worked? I don't know.
If you output on, if you write to standard in, or
I think it's just a normal socket, depending on how you execute it.
oh, maybe that works. That's actually very interesting. Maybe that would work.
Well, you were definitely on the right path, that's for sure, because Nightfox did the same thing. We were watching you guys geek out the same sort of gadgets and stuff like that, so I'm pretty sure you would have got it.
Yeah. However, NotDeGhost was actually the only one doing the intended method. So,
Yeah.
want to do a quick explanation of what you were doing?
I remember reading somewhere that there was you could resolve the PLT functions, and then you could get libc to resolve a custom function. And then after some Googling, I mean, this is essentially the same problem as baby stack from 0CTF. So I was just looking at one of the write-ups and going from there.
Oh, it's
Interesting.
Nice. Yeah, you were definitely on the right path, and it would definitely have worked if it were just given a few more moments.
Yeah, I think if you were more familiar up front, then you would have been a little quicker with it or used the utility, but that was definitely, you were so close. I was actually starting to lean towards thinking you were going to win.
Yeah, that's cool.
So intended solution was DL resolve.
Yes, but your solution also worked.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I mean, a pwn is a pwn.
Yeah, but as soon as we saw what you were doing, early on, we kind of clocked, we understood exactly where you were going, and it was definitely the strategy that won. So there's no shame in what you did. But I just need to ask, what was the end of your payload? So you were altering the read global offset table to point to a syscall, right?
Yeah, syscall.
And then what? Then was just exec VE, and you just set up the payload. Okay, that was good. That's good. Yeah, that reminds me of a few war game challenges that's out there. So it was good to see that being put to use.
I got a purple gadget, so it was really useful to get all those
Yeah, yeah, we saw several of the participants using that pop-all gadgets. So maybe we should just then finish up by asking our usual question, like how would you rate this on a traditional CTF difficulty level from like 100 points up to a 500 points challenge? Night Fox.
200.
Oh, cool. Yeah. NotDeGhost. What's your opinion?
I think if it didn't appear already on an existing CTF, probably be higher, like 150.
I think I saw 3 versions of this same sort of thing this afternoon when I was like Googling around out. So I think it might have been a little more obvious than it should have been, but what we were going to do to hide it, you know what I mean? It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So Peacemaker, how would you rate it?
Ugh. I don't know. I couldn't get an idea, so I would say like 300. Maybe.
Yeah. I guess this is as I was talking about when we were commenting, like I would probably have been wrecked by this because I didn't at all know about this resolve thing. So, but I mean both Night Fox and SPQ were trying things that would have worked without it. So I guess I don't know. SPQ, what's your opinion on the challenge?
I think 200 or 300, somewhere there.
Oh, cool. Great. So, yeah, with that, we will be wrapping up. I know, Bob, you had something else apart from the Advent over-the-wire CTF that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I just wanted to plug another CTF coming up on the 13th of December, which is by the second team in Sweden called Whatever. We were these talented kids coming up, and they're putting on a CTF, which is pretty sweet, and I'm looking forward to that. So I just thought it would be good to give them a little plug since we're not going to be streaming before that.
Yeah, that's very true. So the Whatever CTF, you'll find it on CTF Time or their website, which is like whatever.xyz or something.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so that was it. That and the Wire Advent Bonanza starts tomorrow.
Yeah, and with since the Advent is starting, we will actually not do a community challenge tomorrow this time. So we encourage everyone to go and sign up for the Advent CTF and play that instead, and have fun together with us in the chat there. Also, the next episode of Pony Racing will hopefully, if we get all the logistics working, but it's looking good, be broadcasted live from CCC in Leipzig on somewhere between the 27th and 30th of December. We're still working on the logistics there, and we're still looking for participants. So if you are a Poner and you're going to CCC, please get in touch, and we'll try to work something out. And we are trying, if you have like contacts with any of the hacker spaces, or think you have any way to kind of help us out with the logistics, we would also really appreciate if you get in touch to try to make this project a reality. And with that, we will be closing this down. So again, congratulations to Night Fox for winning this episode, and thanks to all of the participants for playing. It's great to have you here. And we'll see you on the next episode, hopefully broadcasted live from Germany. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
See ya.
Yeah, thank you,
See ya.
congrats.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.